Pahlavi text translated by E.W. West, Part 4. Contents of the Nasks. Clarendon, Oxford University Press, 1892. From Dean Vigirgard, in the name and for the propitiation of the Creator Ahurmazd. These several commentaries, Zond, are published from Revelation. Deno. The names of the 21 Nasks. 1. One is this, that is Yatha, that is the stowed Yost, and the subdivisions of this stowed Yost are 33. In that Nask are the blessing and propitiation of Ahurmazd and the archangels, and they are for the utterance of praise. Ahurmazd sends this Nask into the world which is suitable for everyone, and whoever has committed this Nask to memory recites it, and to everyone who, being a high priest, becomes a reciter of both the Avesta and Zond, and shall recite that Nask 3 times with correctness, the archangels will come near. As to this, they know it without. 2. The second Nask is that which is Ahu the Studgar, and the subdivisions of that Nask are 22. In it are the giving of advice to mankind, the performance of prayer and virtue, the doing of good actions, intercession, producing union among relations, and such like topics. 3. The third is Va'irio, the Vahist Mansar, and the subdivisions of this Nask are 22. In this is the topic of those who are becoming without doubt as to the religion of Mazda worship, causing heedfulness and thinking about the religion, also the production of the benediction and attributes, Sifat, of the blessedness of Zarathustra, every action which was declared virtuous before Zarathustra, and all actions which have to occur after Zarathustra, until the future existence, the benefit of his world, and such like topics. 4. The fourth Nask is this, which is Atha, the Bog, and the subdivisions of that Nask are 21. In this, the topic is this, which is the purpose of the religion of Mazda worship, and the ideas which Ahurmazd caused to be taught unto mankind, the exercise of reverence, heedfulness, adjudication, and justice, the performance of the proper duty of decision, doing good actions, Kari, Kava'ir, closing the way of a Harmon into oneself, attaining unto the spiritual existence for oneself, and such as are like these. 5. The fifth Nask is Ratus, the Devazdak Homast, and the subdivisions of that Nask are 32. In that Nask are all the topics of the spiritual existence and the heavenly state, virtue and vileness, the material existence of this worldly state, about the sky and about the earth, and everything which Ahurmazd produced and which exists in the water, fire, and plants. Human beings and quadrupeds, grazing animals and birds, and everything which is similarly produced from any ek of them, and the characteristics of all things. Secondly, that which is the production of the resurrection and future existence, and the coming together and separation at the Kinvad Pass, the recompense for the doers of good works, and the punishment for sinners occur through the future existence, and such like topics as these are. 6. The sixth Nask is Ashad, the Nadur, and the subdivisions of that are 35. In this Nask are the purposes of the stars, Nugum, the zodiac, and the planets, the goodness and evil of each constellation, and the movement of all the planets in the signs of the zodiac, Burg, and lunar mansions, Mahigan, Nugum. They have translated it into Arabic and Persian, and the name they have adopted for this book is Butal, and in Persian, the name which is appointed for it is Kapamagan. 7. The 7th is this, which is Keed, and is the Pagam, and its subdivisions are 22. In this Pagam Nask is the topic of the slaughtering of quadrupeds and sheep, how they are to be slaughtered, of which among the quadrupeds is the command is that it is allowable to eat, and which kind the eating is not allowable. How he who slaughters shall strike at the time of the expiring of the sheep, the more expenditure, saraf, one makes upon a season festival, so much the more is the reward, how much it is expedient to bestow upon the dasturers, mobads, and herbods, and upon the unwavering practicers of good works in the good religion, what merit accrues to every one who celebrates a season festival and consecrates clothing for a soul, and who, for that reason, is in the supreme heaven in the last times, and it is necessary to give clothing to the relations and the righteous as a righteous gift, and exercise mediation on the part of the righteous, the 5 greater and lesser days of the guardian spirits, and the practice of good works on these 10 days is enjoined in this Nask. It is requisite for all people that they shall read this book with good and wise understanding, that all may become aware of its topics. 8. The 8th Nask is that which is Hakah, the Ratus Ta'i, and the subdivisions of that Nask were 50, when the accursed Alexander had the Nasks burnt up. But after that, as they sought out this Nask, only 13 of those subdivisions came to hand, and no more remained of those previously existing. In this Nask are the reasons of performing service, giving orders, and remaining at the command of kings, and at the command of high priests and judges. The adornment preserving purpose of cities is declared, the command of religion, and things made magnificently, agiziha, grazing animals, birds, cattle, and fish, everything which is a production of Ahura are a harmon. All the purposes of all the seas, mountains, and lands, and matters similar to such as are mentioned. 9. The 9th Nask is this, which is Vang Heus, and is the Baris. The subdivisions of that Nask were first 60, but after the accursed Alexander, only 12 remained. As to the information in this Nask, just as there is the sovereignty for those who are kings, so there is the usage which it is necessary for them to practice, and the command of the sentence of judges of the religion, such as is necessary to be executed, the custody and protection for the world, and making each new city flourishing. Also the reasons of people who are false speaking, sinners, and such like are mentioned in this Nask. 10. The 10th Nask is that which is Dazda, the Kasrob, and the subdivisions of that Nask were formerly 60, but after the accursed Alexander, only 15 subdivisions remained. In that Nask, the topic is that which is wisdom and knowledge, the reason of its being brought forth from the mother, and the teaching of wisdom by demonstration, the performance of purification, and the speaking of truth, bringing people from vileness into virtue, and bringing them from defilement and pollution into purity. Greatness and good progeny arise for people near kings, and how the habit of people telling lies to others and to kings arises, and such like as these. 11. The 11th Nask was Manango, the Vistaspad, and the subdivisions of that Nask were 60, but after the accursed Alexander, only 10 remained. In this Nask is the topic of the sovereignty of Gustasp, and Zarathustra the Spitaman, having brought the religion from Uharmaz, King Gustasp accepted it and made it current in the world. and such like as these. 12. The 12th is Sha'othun An'am, the Kust, and the subdivisions of that Nask were first 22. But after the accursed Alexander, only 6 remained among those 6, which are the first portions: Zizp, which is the Arabic Gizb, the topics in one portion are the attributes, Sifat, of the creator Ahurmazd, and the understanding of them, also being without doubt about the religion of Zarathustra, the Spitaman, all the duty and good works which are prescribed in the religion, and such like. 8 R's Arabic, right? In the second portion is the reason of service for kings, the truth of the religion, submission to all its commands, and withholding one's hand from evil actions, so that it has become far from mischief. In the third portion is that which is the debt for performers of virtuous position, the advantage of good works, the final release from hell, and such like. The fourth is the reason of the creation of the world, the practice of agriculture, the cultivation of trees, the date tree and every fruit tree, whence arises most strength for people and animals, being under the command of the practicers of good works, and the virtuous, and being under the command of the high priests, and such like as they are. In the fifth portion, all the specimens of mankind are mentioned, they who are of great knowledge, who are kings, judges, and the sages of the religion. In the second specimen are they that have to keep watch over all the cities, and to make the enemy confounded. In the third specimen are these whose object one mentions in the term husbandmen. The fourth specimen, which one mentions, are these who are greatly skilled and sitters in the market, grandiloquent to repel loss, giving 1/10 to the high priest and king, and offering praise on hardened knees, the last reward of which is that one obtains in the spiritual existence. 13. The 13th Nask is that which is the Ngreus, the spend. Its subdivisions are 60, which are precious unto people of pedigrees, Ma Yagan, and those who possess much avidity for virtuous actions, and have to proceed in the footsteps. Pa'i Rapi, of the great and religious, also counts of Zarathustra, who is born from the womb of Dulgdabo till 10 years of age. Every Dastur and Mubad shall recite this Nask in purity and with ease and the proper words for several days, and shall obtain every desire of his own or any wish which he claims on account of Bara Ra'i others. 14. The 14th Nask is that which is Mazda'eh. The name Zerast is appointed for it, and the subdivisions of that Nask are 22. In like manner, this Nask is sent by Ahurmazd, which is to make manifest to the people what is the purpose of that science through which mankind are born from the womb of a mother, how many individuals among them will die away from the womb, and how many individuals will live, how many persons and people among them become kings, and how many, meanwhile, Fima, exercise apostleship, that is, the high priesthood, how many are the grandest of people, how many are the meanest of mankind, and in what mode this occurs, from first to last, the time people are born, and all those topics are in this Nask. 15. The 15th is Kshatremka, and the name of that Nask is Banganyast, and its subdivisions are 17. In it are the topics of Ahurmazd, the Lord and the archangels, the knowledge of their attributes, and the service and sublimity of Ahurmazd, at what time every Ga occurs, until the future existence, and what duty is performed, offering praise for every benefit from Ahurmazd, and obtaining benefit from him the appearance of the archangels, and knowing what is such and such an appearance of such and such an archangel in the future existence. This Nask used in the service of Ahura-Mazda and the archangels is very excellent. 16. The 16th is Ahura-E, and they have appointed it the name Neyaram. The subdivisions of that Nask are 54, about the reason of preserving wealth and placing it out, agreement and measure by the cubit and handful, everything the Creator Ahura-Mazda has ordained as uncontaminated, released from hell, and how to walk in the path of reverence and worship, what is in the mind of man, and what is everything in the body of man, and such like as these that are mentioned. 17. The 17th Nask is that which is a long A, and the name they have appointed for it is Asparum. One mentions 65 subdivisions of it, and in this Nask is every religious topic which all persons well understand, and the punishment suffered by sinners, which they receive in their last career. Everything which is uncontaminated is allowable, and what is not uncontaminated is not allowable. The stars preside over the destiny of mankind, and such like as these. 18. The 18th Nask is that which is Yim, that has the name of Duva Sarozad appointed for it, and the subdivisions of it are likewise 65. In this Nask are the reasons of next of kin marriage, forming connections among relations, and such like as these. 19. The 19th Nask is Drigubio, the name of which is Askaram, and is of 52 stanzas. Vakastaha, about the giving of orders, exercise of authority, and practicing wisdom in everything, producing the resurrection, by which every person passed away is made living again, and the malformations of Aharman and the demons are withered away, and such like. 20. The 20th Nask is that which is the Dod, and they call by its name of Vendidad, where the meaning of this is the law against the demons, which is of 22 Vigirgards. The topic of it is what preserves mankind from evil and pollution, and will restrain them from the menstruous, dead matter, pestilence, and running sores. Of all the 21 Nasks, the Nask of the law against demons has alone remained entire, while several remained scattered by the wickedness. Sumi, of the accursed Alexander, this Nask of the Vendidad remains in hand, and owing to its elucidation, the religion of Mazda worship exists now. 21. The 21st Nask is Vastarem, whose name one calls Hadokt, and its Vigirgards are said to be 30. In it are much excellent and many miracles, and the vile Aharman becomes far away from everyone who recites this Hadokt, and it makes him extinct, and the reciter comes near unto Ahura-Mazda, and becomes purified from sin. 22. Now, alas, if all these Nasks do not remain, so that one is not able to solemnize them, that is for this reason that the accursed Alexander, the Aruman, took several transcripts in the Aruman language and characters, Hurufo, of any among those 21 Nasks which are about the stars and medicine, and burnt up the other Nasks, and the soul of the accursed Alexander, the Rumen, will remain wretched and burned in gloomy hell till the resurrection, owing to his own vileness, which entered the religion of Zarathustra. 23. After the villainy of Alexander, an assemblage of several high priests, who were sages of the religion, brought the Avesta of all of them from various places, and made a collection of so much Avesta and Zond as the sacred Yasto, Yasna, Visperad, Vendidad, Arda, Fervard, and other scraps of the Avesta, the Darun, Afringan, and the commands of the religion, all these were written, and the Bundahesbook was correctly written, and all such among them as were not written, which did not come into the thoughts of the sages, departed on that account from the midst of the many topics of revelation. 24. Just as it is said that there were 21 Nasks, there are, first, in 7 Nasks, the topics of the religion of Mazda worship. In the second, 7 Nasks are the topics of medical practice. In the third, 7 Nasks, the topics and capabilities of the stars are mentioned. Now, when we mention in the Aruman language and characters, so it would have been in a Macedonian form of Greek. I don't know the exact way you say that, but, you know, would that, did they translated it? And the Vendidad being what survived, at least in representation, and we notice there's gaps and changes within that, as big as it is kind of like the Talmud being what survives, and the remnants of scripture we have in the Judeo-Christian tradition too, because on either side of that, we find out that most of what exists is not what most, is far from being most of what did exist. And we see that it's representative of what came before in pretty much any portion of that. So